Good afternoon, ladies and menfolk. Welcome to Word Ninjas Live. You're joining us this sunny Sunday for episode 47. And joining me today is a special guest. We have none other than Errick Nunnally, author of Blood for the Sun. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
And also joining me is our regular co-host, Calvin.
Hello, everyone.
And since I haven't officially said it yet, I am your regular instigator of literary productivity, Charles. Good afternoon. Oh my, it's episode 47 already. How did we get this far?
Sorcery?
Oh, right. I always forget about the sorcery for some reason.
Yeah, hey, like you were telling me, a year is a long time to keep something going like this.
Yeah, it's been one crazy year, even though our birthday is not technically officially until 3 p.m. tomorrow.
3 p.m. tomorrow. You sound like my kids. Like, it's, I'm not 6 yet. I'm like, you're
There's still 23
6, okay?
hours,
You're made into the new year. You're
58 minutes. We're getting there. Yeah, it's been a crazy ride. And we're celebrating by having an author interview.
Whee!
Because we like talking to other authors. They're a lot of fun. So I'm glad that we could actually schedule a time that would work. You have our copy.
Yes, I do.
I still want to read it.
I will get to you at some point very soon.
Maybe at Connecticon.
I'm hoping to have it done by the time we get to Connecticut.
Nice.
Have you started reading it? Yeah.
I haven't gotten to it yet. I'm still going through my book queue. So
Believe me, I understand that. I've only read half of these books back here, so, you know.
This one is actually up next in the queue.
Excellent. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I originally snagged that one, and then Calvin took it from me. Because it sounded interesting.
Oh, I was actually the one that actually grabbed the book.
Oh, it was one of those. Even better.
I grabbed the book. I met Errick at Book Expo America.
Yeah, I was really surprised and pleased at how many people got in line and got tickets and stuff. I hardly remember a single face from that. I think there was one or two people that really surprised me. They were like, "Hey, Errick, I'm so and so from the Lincoln Library." That it's like what this is the librarian from the school my kids are going to be going to. And I was like, "Oh wow,
awesome.
That's really interesting." And then other people from other blogs that I would never connect a face to, and here they are standing in front of me for 30 seconds.
Nice.
Always a pleasant thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the description of this book was really caught my attention. Like the protagonist is suffering from a supernatural form of Alzheimer's, so I'm really interested in how that's going to play out, especially with what's in store for him throughout this story.
Yeah, I really like the idea of and not that something similar hasn't been done, like in Memento, for instance, where someone's trying to unravel something, but they're losing their memories as they go.
Right.
I thought that was, I found that very interesting, and the reasoning for it is, revealed in the book, but it makes things a little tougher for our hero, shall we say.
I can only trying to get through this next book so I can get to this one. I'm like, what's going to happen? Oh man. Like, how is this going to play out? Ooh.
It's messy. It gets messy.
I think that kind of goes without saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed setting it in, I grew up in a lot of the neighborhoods that are mentioned in the book. So, and it's a lot of places that I don't typically see represented in television or in books or anything, except in really particular niche publications. And I wasn't terribly interested in that stuff, but so it was really fun to bring that into the mix and fool around with that. And there's actually going to be a sequel that takes place there, and then I got to get on the road with the character. We'll see how long I can keep getting these published.
All right, excellent.
Seems like a good transition to roll into the interview questions, because for our viewers and listeners out there, what is your latest book, Blood for the Sun, all about, and how did the idea for it actually come about?
Well, the book is about a werewolf who's lived a little bit longer than, well, he's somewhere over 100 years old, and his memory is slowly being eaten away. It's sort of a typical affliction among his kind. And in order to sort of maintain a certain clarity, he's started to learn many different things. And one of the things that he's latched onto is searching for or avenging the deaths of missing children. So it's sort of a selfish pursuit, but a noble cause nonetheless. And in this particular book, he sort of stumbles into a case where it turns out that children are being sacrificed up and down the eastern seaboard in the poorest neighborhoods of those cities to create a spell to make vampires immune to the sun. So there's a coven, there's a conspiracy that he sort of stumbles into and has to unravel. And I think with the second part was, where did it come from?
Yeah, where did your idea for it all come from?
I had always been sort of fascinated with werewolves. I always found them more interesting than vampires, and we've really had vampires shoved down our throats for the last 15 years. And I'd always liked the Wolfman, and I remember in the Universal Pictures being sorely disappointed when all Dracula had to do was hypnotize the werewolf, and suddenly he's got a dog. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And it would happen over and over. And then there were a lot of stories that were they were based around the central theme of somebody losing themselves to the beast and running around and murdering people and dealing with the fallout, which is fine the first few times. And I was like, come on, why can't we give werewolves the same treatment we've given vampires or any of the other stupid monsters out there? So when I was in college, we had a comic that was published every semester or so, and I painted a few pages of what essentially became Alexander and his first case, where he recovers his adopted daughter, who's just been bitten. She's a baby, she's just been bitten, and he saves her, and he can't bring himself to kill her, to get rid of her, and ends up raising her as his own daughter. And that was sort of where the whole thing sort of came from. And I just really wanted I wanted someone that had those abilities, that had other problems other than full moon comes, I lose my mind and start killing my loved ones. And plus I like noir and crime and stuff, and action and thrillers and intrigue like that, detective stuff. So that's all that got thrown into the mix as we went along.
Nice. Calvin, you better read that book quickly, because I really do want to read it after you.
I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. It looks like we got another guest here.
Hey, dear.
Hello.
This is my daughter. She's going to give me a little bit of space so I can finish this interview. Thank you, darling. clearly I'm at home.
Never would have guessed.
This might actually tie into question number 2, but how smooth was your process from I have a story idea all the way to Blood for the Sun is published?
Mm-hmm. Smooth. It was not that smooth. I did this comic, the few pages, and the idea just kept kicking around in my head. And this was like a decade ago, more so now actually. And the idea of him being guilty for having murdered a child a long, long time ago, kept banging around in my head. And I started writing it, and I put it down. I started writing it and put it down. A friend of mine recently said that you get 10 years to write your first novel, and then 10 months to write the second one, if you get the first one published. And it really did take that long to write it. So it wasn't necessarily a bumpy road, but it was a slow one. I was working for myself for a couple of years, which afforded me a lot of time to write. And then I got laid off 4 or 5 years ago, and I ended up having another significant block of time to write, and I ended up selling the book to the publisher, Spence City. See ya.
If authors are only given 10 years to write their book, then I'm behind schedule.
You'll get there. Everybody's there. Yeah, the first one I think is it's like carving rock. It's just really difficult to get it out of your head, and then having to deal with I went through lots of agents and submissions and things like that, and lots of revisions, and 3 major revisions and a whole lot of minor ones, because you're getting the whole time you're either writing it or trying to sell it. Everybody has an opinion, and it all seems valid at first, and then it's not. And I eventually developed a sort of a system for taking feedback or not taking feedback. So I had the core story, and I found that if there were more than 2 people involved, and they started giving opposing views, then I knew that was something that I could pretty much ignore. Like, it was just completely subjective. Like, this person likes it green, and this person likes it red, so I don't even have to listen to that. But it took a while.
So it was kind of a matter of picking your battles, pretty much, during the process.
It really was. It really was picking battles. I think what I decided for myself was that I didn't want the core character to change, right? I didn't. A lot of what we call urban fantasy features female protagonists, and they're generally white female protagonists. And I was like, I have this half black, half Native American, and that's what he is. That's sort of very much a part of his character. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to change the settings. There's a lot of things that I was unwilling to change when suggestions came up. I remember one of the suggestions I got was from an agent was to have more fun with the senior moments that he has in the book. And I'm like, that's not fun. I mean, it's terrifying. Like, I had personal experience with Alzheimer's with my grandparents and some uncles, and I can personally only imagine how terrifying it is for the person who's suffering from it. But from the outside, it was I could see how disorienting it was.
Mm.
So it's not a joke. I'm not gonna turn it into a comedy, for instance.
Right. I can understand that. I know that from personal experience as well. So I can completely understand, like, why, like, no, that's not funny at all. Like, that's something you have to take very seriously, and
Yes.
I applaud you for not compromising on that one.
Thank you. It was like making suicide jokes. I'm like, they're not funny.
You know?
Out of curiosity, what were some memorable milestones you had along the way?
Um, I think the first really memorable milestone was I actually got an agent for several months. I had someone who was willing to represent me and shop the book around. And I mean, that was really exciting, and I was absolutely honored to have this person from this particular agency say that, you know, they were willing to represent me. But the more they shopped it around, the more they sort of gave it to slush readers at various publications, the more they felt like they couldn't represent the book in the form it was at the time. So I went from that memorable milestone to them letting me go as an author. So second milestone. And that's when the book sat for a while because I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. But eventually got back to it and eventually got it sold. So that was the third milestone. And it was an elevator pitch too, of all things, if you can actually believe that. I mean, if anybody ever thought that an elevator pitch was cliche, it's true. I had been at a writing retreat a couple of years earlier in New Orleans, and one of the things, it was a great retreat. They actually haven't run it since, but you got to work directly with a lot of established authors, and one of the things that we did was we worked on condensing what the book's about. So when somebody says, hey, what's the book about? You know, mine was essentially, well, it's about a werewolf who has kind of supernatural Alzheimer's, looks for murdered and missing children to keep his mind intact. You know, just one sentence, just to sort of get out what the core idea of all the basics, you know, of what the character is. And I had met the publisher of Spence City. They had a table at a convention, and I was just chatting with them about books and things like that. I'm a graphic designer by trade, so I was just seeing like how do you go about getting the covers and doing the text and just having a conversation. And later that day, I happened to be getting on the elevator to go up to get something from my room or something, and the publisher stepped on the elevator too and said, hey, tell me what your book's about. So there we were. We had 3 floors. I had 3 floors to get the idea across. And she said, wow, that sounds really interesting. You know, here's my card. Send me the book. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that actually happened a lot at that particular conference. So that's, if anybody's looking for writing advice, there's some right there.
Nice. If only a single elevator pitch was all we needed.
Yes, it was serendipitous. It really was. But there were many similar opportunities that did not involve an elevator, but certainly that brief amount of time where somebody says, "Hey, so tell me, what's your book about?" And it was always after speaking with somebody for a minute that they, I guess, you know, don't ping off of their radar as a psycho that they would have to deal with, because, you know, anybody can pick up a pen and say, hey, I'm an author, and show up at a convention. I know these people don't want to have to put up gates and filters and whatnot, so they hold very tightly to their contact information until they feel comfortable.
Mm.
Hmm. Well, you've already given us several bits of advice for fellow writers, but is there perchance another piece you might be willing to give?
Yeah, just, well, first of all, I'd say a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to write. And I think if you're interested in crafting stories, it's something you've been interested in almost all of your life. So you've sort of absorbed many different ways to construct a story. And I'd say that people need to be comfortable with how they do it. There's no right way. to do it. I happen to write in a big burst where I write 3 or 4 chapters, and then I'll, as soon as I hit the wall on that, whatever was stuck in my head, then I'll start an outline, just so I can map out where everything's going, start to fill in the blanks, and understand, it's a book, so there's there's a lot going on to keep track of. And I think some people get hung up on stuff like that, like, do I use note cards? Do I use an outline? How do I do this? And it's like, don't sweat it. Whatever feels most comfortable. And I would just reiterate, not being a jerk. If you're out talking to somebody, you have to understand that sometimes they're done talking to people, and they don't have time to speak, or they might have a complicated process for you to submit something, but that's never a reason to not be professional. You should always be professional, because that first impression could last for years. It only takes a few minutes to make a nasty impression. Like they'll just remember, this guy was awful. I never want to speak to him again.
Yeah, I tried to keep that in mind during Book Expo. Whenever I would go to another table, like, don't be mean, don't mess this up, don't scare them away.
That's right. They've been sitting there at the table for hours. You've been wandering BEA for hours. People get tired, and they get cranky, they're hungry, whatever. But never a good excuse to not be a professional in some regard. If you want to enter a profession, you should be a professional about it.
And I'm pretty sure we didn't scare too many people. We were pretty nice.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I tried to be on my best behavior that weekend.
I'm glad that I actually haven't. It's been very rare to actually meet somebody who's really off their game and being nasty or something. I'm glad it's a minority of people that are typically mean. They get ostracized pretty quick anyway. So.
That's probably why mean people are in the minority. Like getting ostracized, especially in the publishing industry, is basically a death knell. So I think that's something like everybody keeps in the back of their head.
Yeah, right.
Be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice. Oh God, be nice.
Yeah, you don't have to be loved. You just be kind. That's all.
Exactly. That should be a quote.
It is just make sure you attribute it correctly. That's all. That's all I ask.
Not a problem.
Yeah, make sure to keep your attributions accurate, because I can't afford to get sued.
I am quick with a lawyer.
Got it.
Before we go to the last question in the queue, Calvin, are there any questions you'd like to slip in? And Eric, are there any you'd like to ask us, or anything you'd like to slip in?
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything I haven't already asked.
I think
like we're live now. I'd just like to know when it's when all is said and done, when it's available, so I can help promote.
Yep, that's the last one up. I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything.
Excellent.
I think all bases are covered for me. I'm just trying to get through the current book right now, so I can get to yours and dive deep into it, and then pass it on to Charles. So we can eventually bug out about it together.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys when you're done reading it. Good or bad. Love to hear.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun live tweeting all the books that I'm reading. So far, primarily from Spencer Hill Press at the moment. I've kind of been trying to go through that entire gift basket. So I think that one's going to be, 2 books away in my queue. I think I have another one that comes after the one I'm in right now. So once I start live tweeting it, I'll be sure to let you know.
Excellent. I know that well, for me personally, like all these genres that are out there, when you say YA, urban fantasy, this, that, or the other, horror, thriller, that, we do that so we have some sense of what's going on. But I think there's not a stigma, but there's kind of an identity attached to it. Now, I haven't read or typically read a lot of young adult stuff, and Spencer Hill Press is a lot of young adult, and Spence City is sort of supposed to be their sort of grittier urban fantasy imprint. But I've read a few of the Spence books, and all I'm saying is I've been pleasantly surprised, and especially after going through the professional process with them, knowing that they're not just putting junk out, which is great. Right? They're taking authors and they're really putting them through the editorial process and proofreading and everything, and then you get a good book, which is, how about that? How's that work? So I hope you enjoy them. They should be pretty good.
Yeah, Spencer Hill Press has definitely made it into my top 10 favorite publishers, even though I've only read 3 and 3/4 books from them so far.
Nice. Which ones have you read, out of curiosity?
We got Copper Girls and Copper Ravens by Jennifer Provost. Got The Other Tree by D.K. Mock, and then I'm reading Death and Mr. Right.
I have Copper Girl. I haven't read it yet. I think it's look at that right here. But I did read The Other Tree and Death and Mr. Right, and both of those are really funny. They were a lot of fun to read. Again, pleasantly surprised. Wasn't sure what to expect when I cracked that spine, but those were both very enjoyable. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to talking to all of those authors as well in the future.
That's right. You're kind of working your way through. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, we have a whole slew lined up now. I'm excited.
Excellent.
I think we've taken enough of your daughter's time. I'm sure they're ready to have you back.
They are. We're going to go jump rope or something now.
Oh, nice. But before we let you go, we would love to let viewers and listeners learn more about where can they find Blood for the Sun and your other works.
I think the quickest, well, two of the easiest ways would be to go to my blog, erricknunnally.squarespace.com, or to my Amazon author page, even though the book's available at Barnes & Noble and a couple of other outlets. My publisher, Spence City, is currently working on a new website, so it's going to launch a new site that I'm sure will make it a lot easier to find not only my books, but other books published by there, and it'll be just spencecity.com, easy to find. So yeah, I think those three places should do the trick.
Nice. Yes, viewers and listeners, go check out his website, go check out his books, purchase copies. Not just one copy, copies, plural, so you can share with your friends.
That's right.
And then let us know what you thought of it, so we can all geek out together.
Yes.
All right. We'll be nice and let you go, but thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it and getting the chance to talk to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, thanks for having me. I really had a good time. It was a good conversation, guys. I wish you the best of luck with the show, and hopefully I'll be on when I get something else published. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Take it easy, y'all.
See ya.
Right. Take care.
All right.
Hey, that was fun.
It's always fun to have other people on the show and be able to talk about their works and stuff.
It's always kind of fun to pick the brains of, well, any author, but like indie authors. I think the whole indie scene is kind of a crazy monster within itself, and always fun to dig into.
Yeah, I feel like the traditional publishers, although there's fewer of them now, seems like each year another one of them is merged or acquired, so there's even less now, but they have a pretty set formula which is very slow to evolve. So you kind of know what to expect from the big three or the big four now. I forget how many.
Mm.
But the indie publishers, they don't have such formulas. They don't have to go by those rules. So they have a lot more flexibility in accepting some really good works that do deserve to be published and put out there.
And it was very nice to hear that Spencer Hill like really takes the time to like take in these authors and really help cultivate the works that they're putting out. So that was something I was very happy to hear about.
Hmm. And it did kind of throw me that they had Spencer Hill Press and then Spence City, but I think it's perfectly fine to have an imprint within an indie publisher so that you can still kind of have your quote unquote YA and then some
Hmm.
quote unquote grittier stuff. But maybe it's because I was like reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe stuff back in like third grade, and then The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings in fourth and fifth. Like the term YA still throws me for a loop. I don't know quite what people expect of that terminology, but I'm 28 now, and I enjoy these books, whether they're quote unquote YA or not. Then again, I'm weird.
You're in good company, but to be kind of fair, it seems like YA, like the YA genre has gone through like several iterations over the many generations. So it's kind of safe to assume that like, there's no set definition. It's just whatever the times call for it.
Hmm. I would probably just do the lazy route and say YA is whatever young adults enjoy reading. I'm sure some publishers would have issues with that statement. And chances are some librarians too, because I can only imagine what that does to their sorting system.
Oh, I can only imagine. Ooh.
Yeah, how does the Dewey Decimal System account for YA? Because that didn't exist as far as I remember back then. I can only imagine how they had to resort things.
That'd be a good question to ask a librarian. Maybe that could be an idea for an article.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to reach out to some of my librarian friends, see if they have an answer for that. Hopefully, it's not one of those dreaded questions that they're just gonna roll their eyes at and then sigh.
Only one way to find out.
Hmm. Well, now that we're done with our interview, I guess it's time for talking points. Although nothing really jumped out at me this week in regards to talking points other than the one that I put in. So I don't know how much we're going to get out of this one, but it's worth raising anyway of why everyone should read more books, not just writers, just people in general. Because I actually had a couple conversations this week with various friends and coworkers of how do you read this all those books? Like you're going through a book every 2 days. Like, well, I like to read, and everyone should enjoy reading because they should. Damn it! I actually had a better train of thought, but it's slowly fading away. I think it was primarily because as a writer, I start reading a certain type or a certain micro genre and think, gee, these are some really interesting concepts. I wonder how I could work it into my own stories. But then I start migrating to a different micro genre, like with Spencer Hill Press, and like, these are some other good concepts. How can I utilize those? And then it's all sort of slowly merging in my mind of every single book is its own little universe. And whether you're a writer or not, you can gain all sorts of interesting ideas and thoughts from any book. So it's worth checking out anything and everything, even if it's not your typical genre that you appreciate. And I think it was mainly instigated from one of my coworkers because she only does audiobooks because she just doesn't have the time and patience to read, and fair enough. But even audiobooks still count because you're engaging with a story.
Mm. Um, for me, like, the reason why everyone, not just writers, should read more books is because like excuse me, it's a great way to just get yourself out of. It's just a way to get yourself out of your head, like even momentarily. Like the books I've been reading, I've been trying to find whatever time I can to get to them, on the bus, on the train, if I have some downtime here at home when I'm not working on anything, at lunch, just to get away from everything inside my head, everything around me. And it's actually been like a very nice sanctuary for me, something I've be perfectly honest with you, I've never really utilized in the past. It's only it's really because of Book Expo America that I've been really interested in reading again. Like even back in elementary, junior high, high school, books were never really my thing. Like I was the music kid. Like I could listen to music all day, like try to decipher lyrics, try to analyze song structure and prose that way. But books books really never really did it for me, like, because I think one thing was because like I didn't really have the attention span. Like it didn't give me the instant gratification I was looking for. Music was what did it for me, and computers too. So and I think another thing was like being overwhelmed with like the various genres of books I was like exposed to, and at times in my life where I was not prepared um mentally to like really synthesize the information that was like trying to like was um that was in those books. Like perfect example, Animal House. That was a book that I read in junior high school, and I was 11 years old, and nothing from Animal House like really like jumped out at me. Like all the topics about like like um society building and like all the repercussions and slings and arrows therein did I just could not for the life of me I couldn't get it. I just could not get it.
It was just entirely over the.
Completely over my head. And because we would read like all these advanced books, well, advanced for me at the time, like it was just incredibly disheartening that I would read all these books and get nothing out of it. So obviously my grades suffered because of that, and like it really just kind of pushed me away from my desire to read. Like over the years, I found plenty of books that have caught my attention, but just never really sparked anything for me. Like I think just like that, having that desire to read just wasn't there for me. And even with really good books that I found, and I've been trying to read on my tablet. Like I have a bunch of great books in my tablet right now, just waiting to be read, and just I don't know, the desire was never there, so I couldn't latch on to them. like, latched onto it. But ever since Book Expo America, like that's something that has really changed my perception of books completely. That like kicked down that wall of like disdain for books. And so and between that and seeing all of the authors there that were so passionate about what they put together and their eagerness to get their books out there and to meet people, and knowing that they wanted to like really make the public happy with what they put out there. That's what really sparked my desire to read again. And also knowing that there's so many fantastic books out there right now.
My diabolical plan has worked. I mean, yay.
And yeah, you knew exactly what the hell you were doing when you gave me that ticket for Book Expo America.
Yes, Calvin, come and take photos and pretend to be press for me, and nothing else.
I would say you bastard, but I really thank you for like, bringing me to Book Expo America. It was something I definitely needed.
Same
So
here.
so TLDR version of what I just said. Like, everyone should read more books because honestly, there's no like I don't have like a particularly sound reason about why people should read books. They should just fucking do it. Like
I
get
think
away get away from yourself for a little bit with a good book.
mm, yeah, I think there's two main points to add on to all of that. Uh, One is read because it's enjoyable, not because a teacher or someone else in society says, read, damn it, and then tell me what all of it means. No,
Right.
having to actually read a book and then figure out why is the door blue? What is the significance of the blue door? It's because the author made the door blue. You don't have to write a 5-page paper on why the door is blue. Read the book because you enjoy the characters or the plot or the author or the publisher or whatever. Or even if the cover looks shiny, read it because of that. Or listen to the audiobook version for those who prefer the audiobook versions. I don't want to discount those because those are perfectly reasonable and worthwhile as well.
Right.
So read more books because books are worth reading. You don't have to uh, break them down and figure out the hidden meaning 12 layers down. You can just enjoy it because some of the characters are entertaining and silly.
I think
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
now go ahead because I need to figure out what my second point was. I
Oh,
lost it.
I think another thing is just having a book in your hand, just having this trove of entertainment that you can just like sit and uh, thumb through at your own leisure. There's just something about it that you cannot like that cannot be emulated. Like just having the physical book in your hand, like the tablet cannot replace this experience. Like as great as audiobooks are, like audiobooks cannot replicate the feeling that you have just to sit back, go through this book. It's like having this book shoving this book in your face when you get to like a really good part in the story. It's just like there's there's nothing like it, and I'm so sorry that I didn't realize that until now.
Yeah, I think my other point was primarily US based, but it can also be somewhat global, is we are an incredibly overstressed society. Like ridiculously so. We're going to give each other heart attacks very
Yeah.
easily nowadays for some reason. Books are a nice escape to that. You can go into another world. You can experience other characters who do fantastical things. Even if it's a memoir or an autobiography, it's still distancing yourself from the ridiculousness of reality. And that is very useful and sometimes, actually, very often necessary.
Yeah. Like even if books like make you, even if you come across a book that makes you feel like there's a book out there that you find yourself relating to, like with a character, like just knowing that you're not that character like helps you escape whatever you're dealing with, whatever stress you're going through. I think I bring that up because because of There Is No End to This Slope. Like that, like, the protagonist in that book, like
I
I
want
was
to slap him upside the head.
like even as daft as he was, like there were points where you can really relate to what he was going through.
Yeah. There are plenty of times like, why would you do that? Why would you say that? Put in that scenario, I probably do something either exactly the same or very similar.
Yes. I think that was the major draw for me to that story. Like having a character that you could overly relate to. So, long story short, read more books. Do it for your sanity
Mm. And your blood pressure.
and your blood pressure. Oh, that too.
That was a surprisingly good talking point.
It really was. Actually, it took a little time to think about that one, especially given recent events. So it was
Mm.
something very much on my mind, and like very very much something that hit home.
Yeah, well, for myself, I haven't, before Book Expo, I actually haven't been reading that much. I really slowed down. I've mostly been using my train time to sleep,
Mm.
but partly because I have 29 books in my pile, and partly because I really do enjoy reading, and I love finding new stories, new authors, new publishers, all of that. It was a very good instigation to get me back into it.
Like it was definitely something we both needed, and I think it was something to definitely prepare me for Kineticon. Like having a different view of like what I want to get out of the convention this year. I think the last 2 years were just to just be there and to have fun and to take everything in. And this year, not just to take everything in, but knowing a little better of what I want to get out of it, like what I'm like different things I want to look out for, like things I want to say to authors and exhibitors who are going to be there.
Yeah, it's interesting to have both perspectives of I've been an attendee and I've also been a vendor.
Hmm.
So I've seen both sides of it now. And now I've been an attendee visiting vendors. So that's kind of an in-between spot. So it's
Right.
interesting to see all the various angles and how everything plays together. So this is going to be a very exciting year for conventions as for when we're vendors, because now I know exactly how I kind of want to spin it towards the attendees to make it worth their while and entertaining. And I also have a couple ideas for our battle plan of how to talk to some of the authors and literary guests that are going to be there, and a lot of the other special guests because they keep on adding more every freaking week.
And I haven't checked the list this week.
They added one or two more this week. I forget specifically who, but I know that or at least I noticed this week that the voice actors for Invader Zim and Gur are going to be there.
Nice.
And I'm curious, is Power Rangers having an anniversary this year or something? Because all of a sudden I'm seeing a resurgence of Power Rangers as guests at conventions.
Uh, it's possible. It is very much possible. I think uh, this year or coming up very soon is the 20th anniversary of
Oh,
Power Rangers.
Lord. That's weird.
That's frightening, man. Like I remember Power Rangers very clearly. Like very, very clearly.
I remember the original Power Rangers back when it was season one and several seasons after that, as it got progressively weirder.
Right.
That was one of my guilty pleasures back then.
Oh, same here. Like Power Rangers and all of the various mecha based shows that came about after that.
Yeah, there were a whole slew of them back then.
VR Troopers. And then there was the really like my other like very strange guilty pleasure is Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
I never got into that one. I stuck with some of the more regular mainstays like SWAT Cats, and then the weirder ones like, of course, Freakazoid and Animaniacs, all those classics. The Tick.
Oh yeah. Damn. Yeah.
That was some weird writing. Can only imagine what it would be like to interview some of those writers. Like, what was their thought process and guidelines for some of those shows? And how much fun did they have doing it?
I think that that should be something we should work for. One person I would love to talk to is Paul Dini. Paul Dini is Paul Dini is responsible for Batman animated series and also
Okay.
Freakazoid. So that's two
Sold.
reasons I want to talk to him.
Sold. Add them to the wish list.
Excellent.
And I'm actually hoping to talk to, I think it's the voice actor for Gur from Invader Zim. He's actually a writer that
Really?
I was not aware of, but it's in his bio on the Connecticon page. So I'd love to get a chance to talk to him if we manage to track him down.
Yeah, that would be great.
And once they get the guest list for Inconceivable in August, we're going to have to figure out some logistics for that and probably do our proper research for Rhode Island Comic Con in November as well. That guest list is crazy.
And it's only getting crazier.
Yeah.
I'm looking through the Connecticon guest list. Richard Horvitz is going to be there. I'm excited. Let's see some of his notable work. Billy from Billy and Mandy.
Huh.
Daggett from the Angry Beavers.
Nice.
One of my true guilty pleasures.
I don't feel guilty about that one.
And he was the voice of Alpha 5 from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
That's a pretty good mix.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, and he was also Invader Zim.
Huh.
So, yeah.
We're going to have a lot of fun at that convention.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I'm still putting everything together, which actually I'm not sure if you've seen, but pardon me a moment.
Hmm. Oh man, Michael Terciano is going to be there, author of Dominic Deegan. Oh, I'd love to get an interview with him. He does fantastic storytelling. Let's see who else. Yeah, a couple good authors there.
Look what I finished. Yeah.
Alright, hold on. Let's turn it over to you. Nice. Good lord, we're official now.
Oh yeah, we're officially official. This is the official full coverage writer's mic. And there's two of them, so you have two official full coverage writers mics.
So that's what we're getting for our birthday.
Sweet, sweet equipment.
You know, you've been here almost since, well, you've been here since the beginning of all of it, but basically since the beginning of Word Ninjas Live. How has it been 1 year later?
I gotta say, I'm a lot more comfortable now than I was when it first started.
I think we all are.
It's been a way to like really help me with my public speaking and trying to battle a speech issue that I've been dealing with my entire life. Like
Yeah, you're not
my
the only one.
like the one annoying thing that I've dealt with my entire life was my constant starting and stopping and starting and stopping in between sentences. Not even in between sentences, in between words. It is so frustrating, and I've been dealing with that my entire life. But doing these shows and looking back and looking at myself and trying to figure out all my ticks and everything has helped out significantly. So it has been like a lot of personal growth being on this show. So I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. For viewers and listeners, if you go back to episode 1 compared to episode 47, that one's just painful. I
Mhm.
mean, nothing against Richie. He was a fantastic guest for the first episode, but that was painful. You can tell that we've come a good way since then.
Yeah, we still have a ways to go, but we have made significant strides. Oh dear Lord. Like even being on the show now, I'm still make me a little bit jittery, but it's uh it's gotten a little better.
I think I'm always going to be jittery because, like, oh, it's 2:55. Where is everyone? Time to panic.
It doesn't help with my fashionable lateness. But to be fair, I do a lot of things before the shows begins, so
Yeah, you
I
are a
try to.
pretty busy man, so. Out of curiosity, do you have any predictions for year 2? Or
Um,
anything you'd like to see happen in year 2?
I can't really say that I have any predictions or a major wish list. I just want this to keep going and see where we can take it and see how far this can go. As we've come a very long way since the beginning and grabbing guests, taking part in interviews, getting our interview skills up to snuff, and I all I really want to see is just us getting better as time goes by, you know? That's really it for me. I just want to see us going up.
I think we can manage that, or at least a pretty solid sideways.
I'll even take diagonal.
I don't know for predictions, other than, well, I can't really predict it because I know it's going to happen, but more guests in year two than in year one, because we already have, I think, just as many guests lined up already as we had in year one, and we still have openings, so I think we are going to get a lot more author interviews on and trade interviews, not just authors, but it would be nice to get Kit back on for editing, and
Yeah.
I think we have a couple organizations that we might be able to talk to in the future. I'm already in the talks with a couple of them, so it would be nice to get some people in the trade on to talk about stuff.
And that would be fantastic.
And another prediction that I already know is going to happen, so it's a fake prediction, but print interviews for those that are unable to join us for various tech and scheduling reasons, we are still going to get like print interviews with authors and people in the trade, which kind of ties into the show because it was a spin-off from the show.
Mm.
I'm really excited for those. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Uh, it really looks like the future is bright for us, and it's all very exciting and just a tad frightening, but more exciting than anything.
Hmm. Now, I can't even predict, but I am curious to see where the Not Suitable for Word Ninjas podcast goes. Because that's a half year old now,
Really?
basically. We're having episode 12 come out at the end of the month.
Oh man.
And that was a direct spin off from this show. For all the various shenanigans that we get up to when we're not on a live stream for 2 hours on Sundays.
Wow, we're doing pretty good, man.
Yeah. And 47 episodes in, I started solo, got a guest on for episode 1, and then now I have a crew of 4 other people who are all scattered across New England pretty much with various distractions at the moment. So we've come a we've come a long way, and we're gonna keep on going farther until we take over the world.
Or at the very least, a medium-sized island.
That works too.
I'd be good with that.
Preferably one with minimal pollen, because
Ugh,
a
yeah,
lot of us have allergies. So
yeah, I'm one of those. Ugh.
same here. And it would have to be an island with a very good internet connection, so we can continue doing live streams.
We'll just have to make sure we keep in contact with all the proper cell phone companies so we can get a couple of towers on our island.
I did not properly queue up any of the stuff that I need to screen share. I just realized that. Then again, there's only one thing I need to screen share. Yay! I think it's about time for writing prompts.
Let's see. Have no highlights this week.
The only highlight we had was we're 1 year old as of tomorrow.
Ah,
I think that's the only highlight we can handle.
I think I may have a highlight for next week.
Ooh. Yay for future planning.
So I will hold on to this for next week.
All right.
Writing prompt. writing prompts.
Oops. It doesn't work if I minimize that window. Oh, right. Screen share doesn't like it when I'm on different screens. So merge them all together. Hit the screen share again. There we go. It's time for writing prompts. Because each week we like to provide various styles of writing prompts to kickstart your muse so you can start on a new story or work on a work in progress, get a little farther along. Depends on where you are or what you're working on. But we provide 10 one-liners, 10 one-worders, and a combination of Rory's story cubes. Because every writer is different, we all have our different styles and different inspirations, so we try to provide a nice little mix. So if one style doesn't work for you, we have others. Now, seeing as we only have 2 people on the podcast this week, someone's going to have to double up.
I'll definitely do the one-liners.
All right, I'll take the one-worders, and I guess I'll take the story cubes. It's been a little while since I've gotten them.
Okay, cool. Hold on real quick. Okay, here goes. Your one-line writing prompts for this week are as follows. It's a shame you lost your head. That ticket belongs to me. Do I get to go after the fluffy creature? I need to get off this tour bus. We are not going to that library again. New project. Don't get eaten. Again with the door slamming. Why is everyone so rude around here? I refuse to work on a full stomach. Nice hair. And now that I've eaten, I'm all fired up. And those are your one-liners for this week.
Now I can't help but picture the door slamming one in Zoidberg's voice.
Again with the door slamming. Why is everyone so rude around here? Woo!
Oh my. I can only imagine what listeners and viewers think about some of these writing prompts because half the time they're actually instigated by stuff I experience throughout the week. And then half the time they're just completely random, but you'll never know which ones are which.
And that is half the fun.
As for your one-word writing prompts this week, we have budget, apologizing, walk, port, burn, registration, ticket, sauna, antique, and field. Make of those what you will. And my interpretation of Rory Story Cubes for this week is a half-filled beaker that is slowly being tipped over. I'm going to say that's filled with chemical X. And that's not going to end well for anyone. We have a fountain. We have what looks to me like a headless man with a parachute. I presume it's just a very squished man, so the head is somewhere in there, but to me it looks headless, which is a little distressing. We have a disconcerted person dropping a ball. We have an arrow that is going up and then to the right. We have an eyeball with only eyelashes on the top. We have the after effects of a balloon that has burst, or we just have a lot of spikes all pointing towards each other. Kind of hard to tell which. We have fancy little towers, looks like 4 of them. And then we have the Earth. So a little globe. And we shall take it over, but only at night.
That's the best time to do it. And the most fun, too.
Indeed. And that is your Muse food for the week of June 22nd. As always, you do not have to use all of these, or even any of these, writing prompts. They are merely meant to get your Muse kick-started. And if you happen to write a short story or flash fiction based off of any of these prompts, or anything that comes from these prompts, we would love to read it. You can email us a copy or just send us the URL where we can read it via our email, which is wordninja@fcwriters.com, conveniently at the bottom of the PDF. And depending on the length of the piece and the content, we hopefully will get to enjoy it and read it on a future episode of the podcast. I still want to do that one of these days. That would be fun. Alright. Next up is goals and aspirations. 1 year later, we finally tweaked it a little bit to be a little more applicable to all the various co-hosts, as they're not always on a weekly basis. So, how did your goals go from last time rather than last week? I'm going to kick things off because I have a whole slew, as usual. And I see Calvin is still typing. Compile stuff for secret meetings. My Indigo, Meerkat, and Pickle secrets are all progressing again. They're kind of back on track. Mainly because I kind of did an internal audit and figured out just where everything stands and where everything needs to go, and created a little micro guideline to keep things going, which was very much needed.
Good.
Coordinate interviews. Yeah, we have a few going now. Next week, we have Michael Kapp, author of Invasion of Heaven, for episode 48. And I'm still waiting for proper confirmation for Jennifer Alice Provost and Lisa Amowitz, but we've narrowed down the dates. And there's a couple more where they're a little farther out, so not going to talk too much about those, but we also have more trade and publisher groups that we're in the talks with. Those we have not even narrowed down the dates, so that's going to be an ongoing process, but we have a lot of people on the interview list, so it's going to be exciting.
I see. Like, I noticed that. I noticed that yesterday. It's like, whoa.
And there's actually a couple more I need to add to that list. Good Lord.
I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah. That's going to be fun. Now, they're not all going to be on the live show, because some of them, their schedules are just as ridiculous as ours, and they don't overlap, and some of them just can't do live streams for various reasons, so I think that's where the print interviews are going to come in handy.
Okay.
And we're actually going to get one or two on the Not Suitable for Word Ninjas podcast, so just the audio interview, because their schedules are just as ridiculous as ours. So, but that's going to be fun. And the spin-off show is for all the stuff that can't make it onto this one, so it's perfectly applicable.
Perfect.
And Kineticon inventory. I have 40 button designs formatted out of 76, because I created a new one inadvertently. So now I need to finish formatting the others and print them, because we're going to be doing a production day or afternoon on Wednesday now. So hopefully by next episode I'll have more progress on that. Our Warping Time to Be Creative booklet is being proofed and betaed, and I'm slowly formatting the stuff that has been reviewed. So we will have that by Kineticon. Hooray!
Excellent.
And having an actual battle strategy for Kineticon. We should get on that.
Yeah.
That's kind of been on the back burner, and I think now it's at the point where we need to bring it to the front burner.
Yeah.
Because there's like 19 days left
Eep.
or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, we should start figuring that out. And that's how I fared this past week in regard to my goals.
All right, I guess it's time for my goals. So let's see. I had finished catching up, and I am happy to report that I have caught up with everything. I am current right now.
Hooray!
All I got to do now is just call one of my clients, and I saw that she called earlier. I need to call her back to let her know that I am caught up.
Hooray!
I've been trying so hard to catch up with everything that I forgot to catch up with my clients that I was trying to do all this catching up for. Jeez.
I know that feeling. Been there, done that.
Mm. Let's see what else we got here. Finish reading this book before the 29th. I'm probably gonna have to do a marathon read for that. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get some reading in wherever I can with that.
Where are you so far in the plot?
About a third of the way in. Still got a ways to go.
Oh, the rabbit hole goes so much deeper.
Mm. So working on that right now. Update the book review graphic. I got that done. I have to send that off to you for review.
All right.
Under equipment prep for Kineticon, the banner is not done yet. I'm going to get to that hopefully this week, maybe. I had purchasing a small tripod, but I forget if I'm still buying that. I don't remember. As I know Justin said he had a small tripod.
Yeah, I forget how small is.
So I probably should get up with him to see if I should still buy this tripod. We'll
And
see.
I'm covering the regular sized one, or at least I'll have my regular sized one and the unipod just for fun.
Excellent. So the regular tripod is covered. The mic flag graphics done. Oh yeah,
That looks really cool.
let me do the full 360 view. Got the standalone logo. Got the text logo. Standalone logo again, and the dual text and hourglass logo.
Nice.
I actually put a lot of thought into how I was going to set that up. Like there's quite a few configurations that we've done over the last couple of years with the logo, so I was just trying to pinpoint what would be the best way to set that up. I didn't want to do the hourglass logo on all sides, just the hourglass logo on all sides. So I just did a little research, saw how all the various news stations and professional peoples did their mic flags. So I think I came up with something pretty good.
Yeah, it looks nice. Very professional.
Thank you very much. Like I put a lot of effort into that, even down to when it came time to actually cutting everything out. Since I don't trust my wavy hands with scissors, I actually bought like one of those paper trimmer boards to cut everything out. I put a lot of thought and effort and a lot of money into this. A lot more than I was expecting, but it's definitely worth it. So no complaints here. Yep, mic flags are done. I bought the rest of my Western steampunk outfit.
Hooray!
Got everything yesterday. Well, purchased it yesterday. And I got a little help from Ed with picking out what tie I was gonna wear along with my Western steampunk outfit. For some reason, with everything that I picked out, I managed to forget the tie. But the tie's been picked out and purchased, and big shout out to Ed for his help. So yeah, that about does it for my goals for this past week. I accomplished quite a bit. I'm very proud of myself.
Yay! And theoretically, my 2 costumes for Kineticon will actually happen. Well, one of them is already done. It's just the Fancy Pants Wolf.
Ah,
I even have the tail.
yeah, I think you mentioned that last week. That's all. You showed it. You showed it to us last week.
Mm-hmm. And then
Very
a lot
cool.
of that can be repurposed for the Makarov cosplay. I'm just waiting on the cape to be shipped to me.
Okay, very cool. Um, Custom cape or found one somewhere.
Custom cape,
Nice.
put together by none other than Erza from the Fairy Tale podcast.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm not going to have the hairdo because I just can't find a wig that has that type of balding. So it is what it is. It'll be good enough.
It'll work out.
Yeah. Let's see how. What are your creative goals for the upcoming week or just in the future? Let's see. I am actually officially declaring all of my secret projects. Partly so I can actually keep track of which one is for what, and partly so people stop asking me what they are.
Yeah, you've kept everyone out of the loop with that.
But I've basically turned them into 2014 projects. We need to update and upgrade the store on fcwriters.com because a lot of the artwork that we're putting together for the buttons are going to be expanded to our Zazzle page or whatever third-party service we end up utilizing so that if you can't make it to a convention, you can still get some of our really cool merchandise.
Hmm.
So we need to figure out the coordinating for that over the next couple months. Uh, there's a lot of partnerships and affiliations in the works all of a sudden, basically thanks to Book Expo. So there's going to be a lot of coordinating in regards to that, not just for interviews, but also for potential opportunities where we might be able to partner with other companies who like do fundraising for authors. So if you have a book and you need to do a print run, they basically have a Kickstarter program for that. Or if you need editing supplies or editing info or to find an editor, there are companies we're partnering with, hopefully, who has an entire network for that. So there's a lot of cool stuff on the horizon. And then IP maintenance. Over the past 5 years, we've come up with a lot of interesting content and brands and stuff.
Hmm.
It's about time that we actually put it into order. And I think Reality Man's going to have a pretty significant part to play in that, much to his chagrin.
Hey, he decided to designate himself as Reality Man.
Yeah, he became Reality Man, and he just hasn't fought hard enough to lose that title. But yeah. And then
Really likes that title.
it's very fitting.
Definitely.
And then there's ongoing interviews and networking opportunities that need to be coordinated for this show, the Not Suitable for Word Ninjas show, just print interviews on the website, a couple other things in the works. It's getting crazy over here. And it's
really is.
awesome. And
I'm into it, definitely. Like this is one of my other getaways from the stresses of work. Like doing something that I love to do. And this has been a labor of love for me, and I'm definitely happy to see definitely happy to see that we've progressed the way we have, and seeing that we're like moving even further, like crazy far, man. Like farther than we could have ever imagined. That one day in 2009 where you were like, I need a website, I have this idea, let's see what we can do.
And then all of a sudden, we're actually partnering and affiliating with other companies. We're having author interviews with people we've never met before until now. We are vendors at conventions.
Yeah.
We are running panels at conventions. Good Lord.
We are slowly building an online media presence. Holy crap.
Yeah, all of a sudden we're actually utilizing social media. Like, who does that? And then people are actually interacting with us on social media. What is this ridiculousness?
It's awesome ridiculousness. It's awesome ridiculousness.
If it hasn't been a word before, it is now.
I gotta make
Copyright
sure.
2014.
I gotta make it Urban Dictionary official.
My only other ongoing creative goal is convention inventory. Actually, conventions, plural, inventory.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because Kineticon is the big bad, or really the big good, but we also have Inconceivable and Rhode Island Comic Con this year. And Rhode Island Comic Con is, I think, it's bigger than Kineticon in regards to size and amount of people that show up. So we're going to need to be prepared.
Yeah, this is bordering on intimidating right now.
Intimidating and exciting. But yeah,
Well,
for those, we need merchandise, we need the booth set up, we need to figure out our pricing structure for some of our new products, like the Word Ninjas or the Ninja Cubes.
yes.
And we need to get our pitch down for everyone because we're doing a lot of. We're not just vendors at these conventions anymore. Anymore, we've done one. We are also doing panels and interviews and press stuff. So we're not going to all just be chilling out at the table anymore. We're going to be even more engaged than we were before, which is exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Like we're basically becoming a media company of sorts.
We are becoming a resource repository for writers, and it's going to expand to creative people in general, but that resource repository is going to include a lot of entertaining content. It's going to be a fun ride.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, those are going to be my rinse and repeat goals for possibly the rest of the year, because that's going to be a lot of stuff that's either ongoing or needs constant tweaking and updating. I'll probably add some one-off stuff here and there, like I want to work on this week, but for now, those are the priorities.
Cool.
And how about the Calvin?
All right, I got pretty much 4 goals this week. I got finish reading this book in time for next Word Ninjas Live. Design and send out the design for the banner, so I can finally get that in my hands. I have to figure out whether or not I'm buying this small tripod or not. I don't know. I just might pull the trigger and just get it.
If you don't, I probably would end up with one anyway, because I need to go to the camera store at some point. So,
Nah. Probably, if I'm gonna get it, I'm probably gonna get it this week.
all right, you would beat me to it. This week is just crazy.
And finally, I will consider doing something creative for myself, maybe.
Do it.
Like this year has been such a bust for me creatively. It's really sad. Like the last time I've had such a creative dry spell was college.
I don't know. You came up with some pretty good songs back then.
Well, that was after 2006.
Fair point.
04 and 05, nothing happened.
It has nothing to do with the fact that we lived together at that point.
Well, I was busy helping you be creative. All my creative energy was going towards your causes.
Oops. Sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry either. So that's that's what's down the pipe for this week.
Seems like we're all going to be busy.
Yeah, I'm still trying to excuse me, get everything together. Like now that I've caught up with everything and like my brain is not a giant jumble now. It's only a small to medium-sized jumble right now. And that I can handle.
Just wait till next month. And then the convention season kicks off properly. Or, I guess Book Expo was really the kickoff. So the convention season ramps up.
That's right. Let's see. This actually helps us transition into upcoming events.
Yay!
So let's see. We got, like we've mentioned a million times, Kineticon, which is July 10th through 13th. Our booth is. We're going to be obviously full coverage writers. We're going to have the whole crew there. Our booth will be AC32. And also at Kineticon will be our affiliate, Itty Bitty Sheep, at the AC31 booth.
Yeah, if you've checked out our website, or if you see the little logo that's in my lower third, she's the one who did all of that artwork.
She is awesome-tastic.
Indeed.
And it'll be nice to get her again.
Yeah, we need to get her on another episode that isn't lost in the void. Because she's fun to have on.
Very much so, very much so.
It'll just be difficult because her schedule is crazier than all of ours combined.
She does cons actively year-round.
Yeah, I think she does at least twice as many as we do. Possibly 3 times as many at this point. I don't know how she does it.
Me either. Yeah, more power to her. That's awesome.
And at Kineticon, Calvin and myself will be attending not only as vendors, but as press. So we hopefully get to actually talk to some of the special guests during some of the press junkets in the morning.
Plus, I don't want this mic to end up going for naught, you know?
Oh, we'll find a way to make use for it.
I'm very excited about these press junkets. I gotta come up with my questions and everything.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do a review of the special guests beforehand and figure out which ones I'd like to talk to, and you can do the same, and we can coordinate accordingly.
All right, cool.
And on top of all that, at the same convention, we're also doing 2 panels. 'Cause why not? I will be soloing one on writing communities, why writing alone in a group is for you. That one's going to be Friday afternoon, if you can make it for that one. And will be hosting the Literotica one, 6 Do's and 9 Don'ts in Adult Romance Writing. Not sure how many of the crew will be able to make it for that one, but that one's Saturday night. So depending on which days you can make it, if not the whole weekend, track those down and come say hello.
Yes. I will be there recording all of them.
Yes, if you can't make it for various reasons, like you don't live in Connecticut and it's a little too far away, we are going to be recording the panels and a lot of other shenanigans and posting it up on the website. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, there's definitely going to be at least one Not Safe for Word Ninjas podcast that will be coming out of Connecticut.
Oh, at least one. If it's probably going to be, hopefully we'll get some D&D in, and now that my character has been retconned as not dead, I can play.
Yeah, you really lucked out on that one.
Yeah. And it really wasn't on purpose. The file did just corrupt itself. I was really pissed off because it was interesting to listen to. So.
This is why I got to make sure that my AV setup is on point. Yeah, there's gonna. Oh God, I have so many things I gotta bring. Let's see. I got the field recorder. I'm gonna be bringing my recording box that I'm running off of right now. Let's see. I'm bringing this webcam. I'm bringing this mic. I'm bringing the two. I'm going to be bringing the 2 interview mics. I'm bringing the camera. I'm bringing my 64 gig SD card to make sure that we have plenty enough space for me to record all this. Then there's all my lenses. And then there's the possibility of me renting a lens for the week, just for the sake of security and making sure that everything records nice and clear. Heck, I might bring this fancy light with me.
Good Lord.
Because why not? So yeah, that's why I'm making sure I'm bringing my gigantic suitcase that weekend.
Oh yeah, shenanigans that will there's like 15% chance it'll happen during Kineticon, but probably during one of our crew get-togethers, there's a new game that I want us to play and record because it's going to be ridiculous and hilarious and awesome.
Oh God. What?
Trivial Monopoly.
You figured it out?
Apparently someone actually put the rules together a while ago and I completely forgot. They put it together for the Star Wars versions, but we can adapt it easily enough because there's Bookopoly for the Monopoly part, and there's, I think, famous authors for the Trivial Pursuit option.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to be able to get the 2 games in time, and I don't think we're going to have the time to play a proper game of that.
Right.
Because we're like already quadruple booked that weekend as it is.
Right.
But I don't know, maybe Inconceivable, maybe Rhode Island Comic Con, or some other weekend when we're all together.
All right, well, we'll figure that one out, definitely.
Mm.
Oh yeah, speaking of the other events we will be attending, August 15th through 17th, there's actually 2 conventions happening. You've got Connecticut Comic Con, where our affiliate Itty Bitty Sheep will be attending, and Inconceivable, where you, Will, and Ed will be partaking, and possibly me. and possibly me, possibly Justin. I want to come to this one, but I wouldn't be able to make it for the 15th. The 16th and 17th I'd be able to make.
Okay.
I have I have to check my schedule on that one. Also, we have New York Comic Con October 9th through 12th, which I will be attending, not as a vendor, just as somebody who will be taking in all the madness.
I heard the tickets sold out absurdly quickly this year, like even more quickly than normal for New York Comic Con.
For vendors?
For attendees.
Wait a second.
Or at least it was implied that it was for attendees. I don't know. I can't imagine that it was every single ticket option available. It was probably the weekend passes, but you might actually want to check on that at some point.
It hasn't hasn't opened up for tickets yet.
And it must have been vendors that my friend was talking about. He said it sold out in like under 5 minutes.
Oh, well, the 4-day passes, it looked like they're sold out.
Okay.
I wouldn't have been able to afford that one anyway.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, we'll see. But 3-day tickets, I'll be making sure I grab one of those, or try my best to anyway. Gonna have to put a note in my phone. Thursday, June 26th at noon. Very good. Okay, what else are we going to?
It has been 97.3% confirmed that we are attending Rhode Island Comic Con.
All right.
Which is November 1st and 2nd in Providence, Rhode Island. And I know myself, Will, and Ed are going, and I think Calvin was still a maybe. We're figuring out logistics.
I'm pretty sure I'm going.
All right.
Well, at the very least, I'm going to make it a point to go.
Good, because we have 4 tickets.
I think I mentioned I was going to go, so which is why we bought 4 tickets.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and
delete the question mark.
I was going to put an exclamation point there instead, but that's just fine. That's fine too.
And I'm not talking about 2015 stuff, because no.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fuck.
Those are just the ones that I happen to remember offhand. So yeah.
All right.
Moving on.
Yes, please.
Word Ninjas Live has been brought to you by none other than Full Coverage Writers, which is our umbrella corporation. Full Coverage Writers is the entire repository of resources for writers, conveniently at fcwriters.com. It hosts the entire backlog, almost every single episode of Word Ninjas Live. There are 2 episodes that Google just ate. Like, they don't exist. There's nothing we can do about it. So, but a majority of them are up there. The Not Suitable for Word Ninjas podcast episodes are up there. Those are the audio versions. We are slowly working through the backlog of Word Ninjas Live episodes for the auditory version, simply because we can only upload so many per month onto Libsyn. We have a cap, and I got to make sure that I don't overload the feed before we get the NSFWN episodes out. So
Right.
It's going to be 2 or 3 old episodes per month, and then we're keeping track with each new episode we're posting up. So, and the master feed for that is inspiredthemuse.libsyn.com, and the links to all of that stuff is going to be on the website anyway. We also have all of the Muse food stuff, so our entire archive of writing prompts is up there. We have an events page, so whenever we get new media and content from the conventions or about the conventions, we'll post that up there accordingly. Uh, Definitely check it out for the conventions we're vendoring at, because I don't think it's been mentioned really that much, but we are doing the convention stories again. I'm bringing my typewriters with me.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, if you're attending any of these conventions we're vendoring at, come to our table. You'll see a typewriter at the table. You can write anything you want on that typewriter, and you can add to our convention stories. And then those stories are then posted up on our website. I'm pretty sure that last year's Kineticon stories are still up there, and they're special.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Some people try to actually create a story out of it, and that's what makes it really entertaining. But then you get some random stuff mixed in. So it's a treat.
Oh my. I'm reading. I just came across the first Friday con story from last year.
Oh, good Lord. How bad is it? I think your silence says everything.
Okay, this one is actually kind of tame.
Oh, it got worse throughout the weekend.
I think Saturday was the worst.
Yeah.
Nope, the second Friday con story was pretty bad too.
Yeah, so there are 4 con stories up there from last year at Kineticon, because we had 2 typewriters, but then trimmed down to 1 because it was kind of creating a traffic jam. So it's definitely fun. It's worth joining in if you can, if you're attending. So
I'm gonna see if I can do like I did last year and grab a couple of webcomic artists, webcomic writers to add to the story. Because last year I gotten Chris Hazelton from Misfile to add to the story. That was cool.
how did I not notice that?
How did you not notice that? I introduced you to him.
If you say so. I think that entire weekend just became a blur after all was said and done.
Understandably so.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so many awesome webcomic people there. That would be interesting.
Tim Buckley's going to be there, correct?
Yes.
Let's see if we can get Tim Buckley there, right, to add anything.
You go for Tim Buckley. I want to get the, I keep forgetting his name, but the author of Dominic Deegan. I might have to, I'm bringing my scarf with me regardless. But maybe I can track him down that way. Because he'll recognize his own scarf.
Do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it.
Oh man, I want our con story to have stuff from Dominic Deegan and Control-Alt-Delete.
Oh, it'll be great. Oh, it'll be great.
I don't care what they put down. It'll be worth it.
Yes, exactly. Oh, the possibilities. Oh, man.
Oh my.
19 days away. It can't come soon enough. Actually, it shouldn't come soon enough because we're still
No.
working on everything.
No, we have so much to do. Speaking of so much to do, I think it's about time we wrap things up.
Yeah.
Yeah, as always, if we happen to entertain you in any way, shape, or form, you can show your appreciation by subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you're watching this, you've already found us, so it's going to be nice and easy. But if you're listening to the audio version, or you've tracked us down via the website or whatever other means, the convenient URL is wnja.us/YouTube. Or, just go to YouTube, search for Word Ninjas Live, we'll pop up. We're also doing regular book reviews each week now, and we're doing giveaways on specific books, usually ones that have been signed by the author but not personalized, because, I mean, there's only so many people with our names out there that we could give it to, so that would get awkward. But, I mean, just as a reference, this is my pile at the moment that I need to do reviews for and then subsequently give away. I mean, we got 2 books in a series. We got 1 book with a little pendant that goes with it, another book with another pendant, so we got all sorts of special goodies. So definitely keep subscribe so you can keep track of all the shenanigans that we get up to. And I mean, if you want to track us down via social media, we're on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook. We're everywhere. And all of those links should be conveniently found on fcwriters.com, and we'll also recite them shortly when we do our attribution section.
CJ, do me a favor. Do me a quick favor.
No.
Okay.
What do you need?
Remind me to put the Tumblr link on the site.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting to remind you about that.
Yeah, we need that.
Yeah. All of our social media links, except for Tumblr, as of right now, the live stream, are up there. We'll get that up. Don't worry. Future listeners will see it.
Yes.
Or you can just listen to the attributions in like 2 minutes.
Oh, or that. Yeah.
Speaking of attributions, who are us? Who are we crazy people, and where can they find us on the internets? I'm going to start with Calvin.
All right. Yeah, there's a few places you can find me. You can check out my personal website / portfolio. Excuse me. The website is calvin.cwillia.ms. It's calvin.cwillia.ms. You can also find me at the music website Riffraff. It's riffraff.net, riffraf.net. You can also find me on Tumblr at Instacal, Twitter and Instagram at ccwii, and also on SoundCloud. That's soundcloud.com/cdubny.
I personally recommend going to the SoundCloud page because his music is awesome and has really helped me out this month at work. It has come in very handy. And you can hear it in almost every single thing that we post up on YouTube.
Right.
Either in the intro or outro or both. So, as for myself, you can track me down via Twitter at silver_wolf85. I'm also on the Fairy Tale podcast Monday nights as Makarov. They're another YouTube live stream. My personal Tumblr is fancypantswolf.tumblr.com. That is NSFW-ish. It's about 90% safe, 10% not, so you are warned. And as for Full Coverage Writers, which hosts everything and anything we do, our website is fcwriters.com. YouTube, as we mentioned before, wnja.us/YouTube, or just go to YouTube, search for Full Coverage Writers, Word Ninjas Live, we'll show up. Our literary Twitter handle is at FCWordNinja, where we post interesting links to articles, and we're doing some live tweeting of when we're reading stuff or when I'm reading stuff. I'm going to try and get the crew in on that as well when we can.
Cool.
And we also kind of start getting conversations back and forth with some of the authors, which is always fun. Our literary Tumblr is fcwordninja.tumblr.com. For Facebook, it's facebook.com/fullcoveragewriters. And for anything and everything else, you can just email us over at wordninja@fcwriters.com. And that is going to wrap up episode 47 of Word Ninjas Live and year 1 of Word Ninjas Live.
Woohoo! We did it.
So is this like season 1, and now next week's going to be season 2?
Um, I'd say we should start season 2 with Where Ninjas Live 50.
That works.
I feel like that's gonna be like the beginning of like the true craziness.
Good lord. Yeah, episode 50 coincides with Kineticon, so you can only imagine what that's going to end up being like.
With everything going on that weekend, we may have several things that we're gonna end up uploading either before the weekend is out or the subsequent week.
Hmm.
So I suggest you all stay tuned.
And until then, tune in next week on Sunday for episode 48, where we have Michael Kep, author of Invasion of Heaven, on for another author interview.
That is going to be exciting. And probably fair warning to everybody is going to be full of spoilers.
Yes, we are going to set it up where the initial interview is we talk about the book and the standard like interview questions, and we're going to go through the full episode, and then the very end, it's going to be all spoilers, no holds barred, talking about the characters, the plot, what happens at the very end, because God damn it. Or I think as I put it originally, son of a bitch. But yeah, we're gonna be nice and try and save the very spoilery bits to the very end of the episode, so you can enjoy us for the full episode, and then that's kind of like the extra behind the scenes stuff.
There you go.
But yeah, definitely try to tune in for that one next week. It's gonna be a ride. I really look forward to that.
As am I. As I frantically make my way through this book.
And in the meantime, if you're on the YouTube page, check out the book reviews, because we're finally kicking off that series again where we read a book, we review it, and we do a giveaway. This time around is the Steampunk Adventurer's Guide. I'm giving away my signed copy after having reviewed it. So check out the video, read the review, and the convenient methods of how to obtain, or possibly obtain, your very own signed copy. And I highly recommend that Calvin checks out his copy, because it is a very interesting read-through.
I will get to it in due time, most likely before Kineticon. Even though I said my Western steampunk outfit is done, you never know, I may want to like add an embellishment or two or several to it
You never
before.
know if you need your own arm guard decoder ring, or power armor, or handmade goggles.
You know, goggles is the one thing that I haven't either purchased or made.
So the
What
one
kind
nice thing about that book, it actually has pretty good instructions on creating your own goggles. I forget the chapter offhand, but
Yeah, I watched the review. It sounds incredibly thorough.
so yeah, I think with that we're going to wrap up episode 47. Until next time, all.
Take care.
Ta-ta.
Grab the book.
Oh,
I
it
got.
was one of those. Even better.
I grabbed the book. I met Errick at Book Expo America.
Yeah, I was really surprised and pleased at how many people got in line and got tickets and stuff. I hardly remember a single face from that. I think there was one or two people that really surprised me. They were like, "Hey, Errick, I'm so and so from the Lincoln Library." That it's like what this is the librarian from the school my kids are going to be going to. And I was like, "Oh wow,
Awesome.
that's really interesting." And then other people from other blogs that I would never connect a face to, and here they are standing in front of me for 30 seconds.
Nice.
Always a pleasant thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
think the description the description of this book was what excuse me really caught my attention. Like the protagonist is suffering from a supernatural form of Alzheimer's. So I'm really interested in how that's going to play out, especially with what's in store for him throughout this story.
Yeah, I really like the idea and not that it hasn't, something similar hasn't been done, like in Memento, for instance, where someone's trying to unravel something, but they're losing their memories as they go.
Right.
I thought that was, I found that very interesting, and the reasoning for it is, revealed in the book, but it makes things a little tougher for our hero, shall we say.
I can only trying to get through this next book so I can get to this one. I'm like, what's gonna happen? Oh man. Like, how is this gonna play out? Ooh.
It's messy. It gets messy.
I think that kind of goes without saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed setting it in, I grew up in a lot of the neighborhoods that are mentioned in the book, and it's a lot of places that I don't typically see represented in television or in books or anything, except in really particular niche publications, and I wasn't terribly interested in that stuff, but so it was really fun to bring that into the mix and fool around with that. And there's actually going to be a sequel that takes place there, and then I got to get on the road with the character. We'll see how long I can keep getting these published.
All right, excellent.
Seems like a good transition to roll into the interview questions, because for our viewers and listeners out there, what is your latest book, Blood for the Sun, all about, and how did the idea for it actually come about?
Well, the book is about a werewolf who's lived a little bit longer than, well, he's somewhere over 100 years old, and his memory is slowly being eaten away. It's sort of a typical affliction among his kind. And in order to sort of maintain a certain clarity, he's started to learn many different things. And one of the things that he's latched onto is searching for or avenging the deaths of missing children. So it's sort of a selfish pursuit, but a noble cause nonetheless. And in this particular book, he sort of stumbles into a case where it turns out that children are being sacrificed up and down the eastern seaboard in the poorest neighborhoods of those cities to create a spell to make vampires immune to the sun. So there's a coven, there's a conspiracy that he sort of stumbles into and has to unravel. And I think with the second part was, where did it come from?
Yeah, where did your idea for it all come from?
I had always been sort of fascinated with werewolves. I always found them more interesting than vampires, and we've really had vampires shoved down our throats for the last 15 years. And I'd always liked the Wolfman, and I remember in the Universal Pictures being sorely disappointed when all Dracula had to do was hypnotize the werewolf, and suddenly he's got a dog, and I'm like, this is ridiculous, and it would happen over and over. And then there were a lot of stories that were they were based around the central theme of somebody losing themselves to the beast and running around and murdering people and dealing with the fallout, which is fine the first few times. And I was like, come on, why can't we give werewolves the same treatment we've given vampires or any of the other stupid monsters out there? So when I was in college, we had a comic that was published.
Good afternoon, ladies and menfolk. Welcome to Word Ninjas Live. You're joining us this sunny Sunday for episode 47. And joining me today is a special guest. We have none other than Errick Nunnally, author of Blood for the Sun. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
And also joining me is our regular co-host, Calvin.
Hello, everyone.
And since I haven't officially said it yet, I am your regular instigator of literary productivity, Charles. Good afternoon. Oh my, it's episode 47 already. How did we get this far?
Sorcery.
Oh, right. I always forget about the sorcery for some reason.
Yeah. Hey, like you were telling me, a year is a long time to keep something going like this.
Yeah, it's been one crazy year, even though our birthday is not technically officially until 3 p.m. tomorrow.
3 p.m. tomorrow. You sound like my kids. Like, I'm not 6 yet. I'm like, you're
There's still
6,
23
okay?
hours,
You made it into the new year. You're 6.
58 minutes. We're getting there. Yeah, it's been a crazy ride. And we're celebrating by having an author interview.
Whee!
Because we like talking to other authors. They're a lot of fun. So I'm glad that we could actually schedule a time that would work. You have our copy.
Yes, I do.
I still want to read it.
I will get to you at some point very soon.
Maybe at Connecticon.
I'm hoping to have it done by the time we get to Connecticut.
Nice.
Have you started reading it? Yeah.
I haven't gotten to it yet. I'm still going through my book queue. So
Believe me, I understand that. I've only read half of these books back here, so you know.
This one is actually up next in the queue.
Excellent. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I originally snagged that one, and then Calvin took it from me. Because it sounded interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I was actually the one that actually...
And then I got laid off 4 or 5 years ago, and I ended up having another significant block of time to write, and I ended up selling the book to the publisher, Spence City. See ya.
If authors are only given 10 years to write their book, then I'm behind schedule.
You'll get there. Everybody's different. Yeah, the first one I think is yeah, it's like carving rock. You know, it's just really difficult to get it out of your head, and then having to deal with you know, I went through lots of agents and submissions and things like that, and lots of revisions, and 3 major revisions and a whole lot of minor ones, because you're getting the whole time you're either writing it or trying to sell it. Everybody has an opinion, and it all seems valid at first, and then it's not. And you know, I eventually developed a sort of a system for taking feedback or not taking feedback. So I had the core story, and I found that if there were more than 2 people involved, and they started giving opposing views, then I knew that was something that I could pretty much ignore. Like, it was just completely subjective. Like, this person likes it green, and this person likes it red, so I don't even have to listen to that. But it took a while.
So it was kind of a matter of picking your battles, pretty much, during the process.
It really was. It really was picking battles. I think what I decided for myself was that I didn't want the core character to change, right? I didn't. A lot of what we call urban fantasy features female protagonists, and they're generally white female protagonists. And I was like, you know, I have this half black, half Native American and that's what he is. That's sort of very much a part of his character. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to change the settings. There's a lot of things that I was unwilling to change when suggestions came up. I remember one of the suggestions I got was to, from an agent, was to have more fun with the senior moments that he has in the book. And I'm like, that's not fun. I mean, it's terrifying. Like, every semester or so. And I painted a few pages of what essentially became Alexander and his first case where he recovers his adopted daughter, who's just been bitten. She's a baby, she's just been bitten, and he saves her and he can't bring himself to kill her, to get rid of her, and ends up raising her as his own daughter. And that was sort of where the whole thing sort of came from. And I just really wanted I wanted someone that had those abilities, that had other problems other than full moon comes, I lose my mind and start killing my loved ones. And plus I like noir and crime and stuff, and action and thrillers and intrigue like that, detective stuff. So that's all that got thrown into the mix as we went along.
Nice. Calvin, you better read that book quickly, because I really do want to read it after you.
I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. It looks like we got another guest here.
Hey, dear.
Hello.
This is my daughter. She's going to give me a little bit of space so I can finish this interview. Thank you, darling. Clearly, I'm at home.
Never would have guessed.
This might actually tie into question number 2, but how smooth was your process from I have a story idea all the way to Blood for the Sun is published?
Mm-hmm. Smooth. It was not that smooth. I did this comic, the few pages, and the idea just kept kicking around in my head. And this was like a decade ago, more so now actually. And the idea of him being guilty for having murdered a child a long, long time ago, kept banging around in my head. And I started writing it, and I put it down. I started writing it and put it down. A friend of mine recently said that you get 10 years to write your first novel, and then 10 months to write the second one, if you get the first one published. And it really did take that long to write it. So it wasn't necessarily a bumpy road, but it was a slow one. I was working for myself for a couple of years, which afforded me a lot of time to write